Thank you, Chair. I am Mae Buenaventura of APMDD, also speaking on behalf of the Civil Society Financing for Development Mechanism. FFD4 is a critical moment to deliver actionable outcomes on long-standing gender inequalities and systemic issues, including colonial, patriarchal legacies embedded in and reproduced by the current international financial architecture that prioritize debt servicing at the expense of the fulfillment of human rights and the achievement of SDGs. We cannot retrogress on the CEDAW, a core human rights treaty with almost universal acceptance by member states that mandates providing adequate resources towards protecting and realizing women's rights. To that end, we strongly reiterate the call to agree on an intergovernmental process for participatory and equitable debt governance and crisis prevention reforms, leading possibly to the adoption of a UN Framework Convention on Sovereign Debt. Such an agreement can pave the way for binding commitments to ensure that lending and borrowing practices promote gender equality and overall work for and not against women in all their diversity. It is concerning that the Zero Draft hardly mentions the continued and widely documented violation of human rights of women and girls, caused in no small part by burdensome debt servicing, even for unsustainable, illegitimate, and odious debts, which gravely restrict the ability of states to fulfill the core responsibility of promoting their people's well-being and fundamental human rights, as pointed out earlier by the distinguished representative from Lebanon. Specifically, the debt chapter makes no mention at all of the huge obstacle that debt burdens pose to achieving a better life for women and girls. Para 47 should explicitly state that high debt service burdens constrain fiscal space for the realization of gender equality and women's rights, or otherwise risk by its silence an implicit gender bias disadvantageous to women and girls. On Para 49, we note with concern the key roles given to international financial institutions who are themselves implicated in setting austerity loan conditionalities that harm women and exploit their unpaid care labors. As the representative from Cuba said, IMF is part of the problem, and we cannot agree more. On Para 50, a truly development-oriented international debt architecture cannot only give premium to the participation of creditors. The voices of borrowing countries must be assured as well, including the informed participation of women, who the UN has long recognized as largely absent in all levels of policy decision-making. A growing number of countries today face debt restructuring negotiations with lenders, and an even bigger number of countries implement austerity measures that devastatingly impact women and girls. Reforming the global debt architecture cannot wait any longer. We are heartened by earlier expressions of member states on the need for a multilateral legal debt framework and mechanism which suggests recognition of the need to shift away from creditor-dominated decision-making arenas on sovereign debt. We need this UN Framework Convention on sovereign debt and urge member states to heed this urgent call, turning aspiration to ambition and raising ambition into concrete action. Thank you very much.